Hello, this is Dominique, and recently I was asked, what's the process for creating a Veteran of the Day graphic? So I figured it has been a while since we actually updated the video for how to create a VOD, or Veteran of the Day, and so I thought maybe I'll just, you know, give it another go, and just as kind of like an introductory, hey, this is how we do it sort of thing. Um, so in general, one of the ways that, well, the first thing that you need to do is have access to our Trello board. Hold on a second. Sorry if that was noisy. So our Trello board has all of the Veteran of the Day, like uh, the ones that are submitted by other interns generally, and also from the public. So if you go here as a graphic designer, you will probably um, be able to go in here and find ones that have not been completed yet, and that's something that you can get started on. So in this case, there is a Veteran of the Day um, VA employee, Will Ackerman, whose uh, request was submitted recently. This is on July 1st, so yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. But I was on vacation then, so I didn't see it. But anyway, so here it is, and as you can see, there are a number of pictures in here that we can use. So this would be a good one to create, and I am going to create it. But you can do the same with some of these other ones, like right here, look, waiting for graphics. You can just hop right in here and get to work. Notice there's some of these old ones because they were created in the old format, the old template. We use a newer template now that is kind of has different versions for Facebook and Instagram. So we don't use that particular one anymore, but you'll see that, we have other ones in here that are already written up, but maybe just need some graphics, EOD Warrior Memorial. So maybe what they're doing, they put a link there so you can go in here and try to download some of their stuff. Honestly, I don't see anything to download. This would be something that I would not approve unless they have a number of other yeah, it says approved. I had to talk to them about that. But unless they have some other pictures of it, I would not approve that. Um, so anyway, but you can go into waiting for graphics and find one like this one, Alfred Clark. Hey, wait a second. This one's already got a graphic created. No, it's got a um, document attached already. Interesting. So you can see, here you go. There's that. That's two photos really. It's not a whole lot to work with. It can be done. A lot of times what we'll end up doing is something like go back here, Alpha Clark, U.S. Army Air Corps, uh, cops, not cars, 9th Air Force Station. And so, maybe we'll try to find something useful in here that we could use. But apparently we didn't get there in time, June 13th. Um, anyway, I started with this one. This one's gonna probably be better for my purposes. And yeah, so first thing that I do is I'm gonna click on this image, right click it and save as, and call it. One thing you can do is create like a new folder and call this one Ackerman, or whatever the individual's name is, and we'll pick one, save, go to the next one, save image as UK0001, sure, why not. Here's a picture. Okay, it's a little dark, but we'll see what we can do. That's from basic training. Cool. And with an Iraqi general. Okay, sure, why not? Good to go. Any more? Ooh, there we go. Save images. Looks at Veterans Administration Hospital. Okay, and that is nothing. And so, now that I've downloaded all of the photos, I can go into my downloads folder. By the way, this is actually going to be a relatively long video, so hopefully you've budgeted some time there. So one of the things that I would want to do, I'm going to want to touch up some of these photos before I use any of them. And man, yeah, these photos are rough. This one, sorry, I'm resizing my Photoshop here. I mean, this one will do. It's not perfect, but hey, what are you gonna do? All right, but so that's not a bad one actually. Control 1, yeah, that's actually a good one. It's fine. I think this one would be a good background picture, to be honest. This one's kind of small, honestly. And this one, I want to have it in there, but it's like super dark. Maybe I'll do like curves. Auto. There's some auto settings here. Oh man. Oh, there we go. Now, I forgot how to do it with the curves. Honestly, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go with brightness and contrast. Yeah, when I turn up the brightness, it pulls out some noise as well. That's unfortunate. So let's see, contrast, darken it up. No, man, there's not a whole lot you can do with this one. But one thing that we can do, however, so let's say you get the brightness to where you want it, right? But you notice that when you pull out that brightness, it draws some noise in the darker areas, which is unfortunate. So that seems a little bright enough. Can I make it more? I mean, you can. That's too much. It's a little bit better, somewhere around there. All right, so there I got that, and let me get rid of this. Don't really need this anymore. One thing you can do here is select your. This is called a mask, and see mask layer. It's a layer mask, and it applies specifically to this this effect here, the uh, brightness and contrast layer. And so what you can do is invert it so that the effect doesn't take place. And then with your layer mask selected, choose your brush tool. You can use B. Notice it says brush tool B. You can use B to automatically select it. And then in that case, you can notice my opacity is at 39. Maybe I want a little higher, 70, 60. And you can just start brushing it in there. Oh, but look, it's set to black, so I want light white so that I can start brushing in the brightness. You can change your brush size too if it's not working out for you. And then just kind of go through here and paint in the brightness. Now it's gonna look like he's got a shadow from his hat, or cover as we say in the military. But yeah, so this is a way that you can go in and like selectively apply some brightness to particular areas. And then if you don't want to leave the dark areas like totally dark, you want to brighten those up a little bit more. Oh, by the way, I'm using the brackets keys to increase and decrease my brush size. You could do the same thing up here. Notice the the size is changing. It's because I'm pushing the buttons, the bracket keys. But so if you drop down the opacity a little lower, you can go in here and like brush over the dark areas, and it'll brighten it up a little bit so that it's not totally left out of this. And that's a bummer, man. That doesn't look very good. I don't know what else to do about that, to be honest. It's just kind of a not so great picture to begin with. So anyway, we're going to do what we can here, and the rest, well, not a whole lot we can do about it. So I want to brighten up that hat a little bit. There's other things that, notice this is our layer, and this is kind of shows what areas have been brushed and what, so notice this is the masked areas and what is not masked. You can do some online courses or something like related to masking. Like you can watch, there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there. If you think if the effect of your layer here is too much, you can grab your opacity and dial it down. Notice the effect starts going away. It's at 48, and then it's completely gone. If you want to just turn it off and see, compare it to your original, you can do that. Click the little eyeball thingy here and make it go away. Another potential thing that you can do is try to go into these filters and see if you can reduce the noise a bit. um, Default strength 9, preserve details. Okay, so it is doing stuff. Not sure if it's doing anything that I like though. Let me turn off the preview. Yeesh. It seems like it's adding noise, to be honest. Get rid of some of the strength. Honestly, I don't think it's helping at all. That's making it look worse to me, I'll be honest with you. Reduce color noise, sharpen details, move artifacts. You like get in here and fool around with it a bit and see what effect it has over here, honestly, if any. Sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't. Reduce color noise. Yeah, I don't really like what it's doing to the picture, honestly. You can go into advanced and do more work on it. I don't like it. It's not really working for me, so I'm gonna skip it. It's good enough. This is gonna be really small anyway. Now we have this little white thing on the side. I want to get rid of that, so take that. Oop, yeah. Delete. Oh, I have to have the layer selected. Silly. Delete. All right, and then I want to slim it down. So image. Go down to trim, and I wanted to trim the transparent pixels that I just created, and now that's done. All right, and now, I mean, it's not perfect. It's actually kind of rough, but we're gonna make a small. It's gonna be kind of small, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. And let me export this file. Export, save for web. If you really wanted to, and if you had the time, you can go in and like, so if I wanted to like zoom in, go down here, I can get rid of some of this stuff with like healing tool, healing brush or whatever, and like just get some of these. This is probably a little bit big, to be honest. Don't need it that big. Because these are artifacts that really don't need to be here. I might have been able to do this before trying to do the reduce color noise or reduce noise, and that might have helped. But this picture is kind of rough to begin with. But yeah, there we go. Anything else? I mean, you don't necessarily have to give this granular level of detail to every single picture, but it's nice. I mean, you know, if you're doing your best to make these photos look good. Especially this one is clearly like scanned. So this is not the quality of the original photo. This is just like it's got some noise added to it during the scanning process. So, you know, touching it up a little bit, I don't see a problem with it. But so this is what we got. That's about it. But I got rid of those little white dots that were in there. I'm not sure if those were bits of dust or something on the photo or what. But anyway, they're gone now. So now I can file, export, save for web. This is the old-fashioned way of doing it, I believe. There's a new way to do it. I just never taught myself. But okay, so I'm gonna give it a new naming convention 0001 basic training. All right. So this one I am good with. Goodbye. No, I don't need this saved. Don't save. This one's fine. I don't need to change it. This one, I think this one's good, actually. This one's actually good. Let's see this one. I think I'll do the, I'll touch it up a little bit with the healing brush, just to get some of those white dots out of there. I don't think anybody would really be upset about them, but you know, just trying to make a nice photo. So just go in here, and the healing brush. This is the healing. I think I have the healing brush. Yeah, spot healing brush. There's a healing brush tool as well, and there's a patch tool. All of these are useful in their own ways. You might have to do some training to figure out how to use the different tools. But like for this spot healing brush tool, the idea is that when you see a little spot that's incorrect, it's like jacked up, make your little circle here, your little cursor, just big enough to fit around that circle or fit around that spot, and then click on it, and it will take a look at the surrounding area and clean it up and make it look as though it belongs in that area. So another thing to point out, usually when you're doing this kind of stuff, I'm not right now doing this, but I would actually recommend that you create a separate layer for touch up, maybe call it touch up. Instead of doing it, I'm applying the changes directly to the layer, and that's probably the worst way to go about it. What you should do is make sure that you have a new layer, and that you're doing these changes on the new layer, because when you do them directly on the layer that has the image in it, you're actually making unchangeable edits to that layer. And if you realize later on that you screwed something up, you can't really go back and fix it. But if you do it on this touch-up layer, you can just delete that part of the layer or make a whole new layer, and the original photo will have been the same. So I should have pointed that out earlier. Sample all layers. Yeah, that's another thing you got to note. You'll want to have it set to sample all layers, and that way it will go through to the bottom layer and fix that layer. So now that I have that set up, if I was to turn this off, you can see these are my corrections. Turn it back on. I'm just gonna go through, make him look like a champ here. I mean, this is okay picture. It's just the quality, being that it's scanned, is kind of, or it appears to be scanned, it's a little bit substandard, just because it's introduced these little errors and whatnot. Also, the resolution of this photo is a bit low. That's on the low side, to be honest. So what we'd like to get is some like really high resolution pictures. It's not always possible, but we do our best with what we're given. Unfortunately, especially some of the older veterans, like they may not have any better pictures. Sometimes it's from old Polaroid photos and stuff like that, and you're like, or newspaper clippings, and it's like, oh well, that's all they got, and so we just kind of do our best with what they gave us. Notice I'm like actually fixing these dots on his face, and it's making it like there's one right here on his eye. Let's see if I can get that one. Not totally satisfied with that, to be honest. Let's see. I don't know if I like it. Oh, man. That's a little better. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so a little one right there on his hair. And I mean, I got most of them, I think. Let me zoom out a little bit, or a lot. uh, and I got most of the big offenders. There's a couple up here on his shoulder, collar, boom, boom. And honestly, you just go through here and you hit them all up. Sometimes it takes a while. If you're doing a good job, it'll take a while. This is also, this is a technique that you can use in retouching other people's photos as well. Um, and then another thing that I might do, um, sometimes you'll get photos where it has like a big crack, or like a bend or something in there, and you can take like the healing brush tool and you can just like draw a line across that bend and it'll correct it. Um, or they might have a patch of area where it's like kind of jacked up and you want to fix it, but so maybe part of the uniform here was messed up, so instead of um, trying to spot brush fix it, you can go over and use the patch tool and like highlight an area that you want to base it on, and you like highlight it and move it over, and then it'll just kind of patch it in there. There's a lot of different healing things that you can do to touch up an image. And like I was saying, you can actually do this on your own photos too. If you get a photo that has like little mistakes on it, or you know. Also, this red eye tool comes in pretty handy sometimes. So let's see. Well, it's not perfect, but it's better. Um, so now, like I said, look, this is all the spots that I patched up. You can see, um, or not patched up, but that I use the healing brush, spot healing brush tool. Yep, that's another thing. When you hover over these tools over here, they'll give you kind of like a little card that shows you how to use them. All right, so this thing is basically good to go. I could try to. I don't think I need to sharpen it. I think it's good to go at this point. File, export, save for web. Zero, 0002 will uniform. All right, cool. And now I don't need this anymore. Don't save. All right, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I need to open up the Veteran of the Day template. Now, you'll probably get this from your excuse me, I just came off of having a cough. You should be able to get this from your department head. So here's the VOD template for Facebook, and it's it's pretty easy to use. You just kind of load it up. Now notice there's this big red background in the back, and that is the stage area. And this is where you put your images of your veterans. Now, as I mentioned earlier, downloads, the photo with the jet there, the aircraft, that looks like a good one for the background. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss that in the background. So just kind of go in here. Let's see if I can put it in directly in this folder. I don't know. Nope, that doesn't seem to have worked. So no, but you can drop it directly on the stage there, and then move it into the folder that you're looking for. Smart object must be rasterized before proceeding. Okay, whatever. So we're rasterizing our smart objects. Great. And then I can, you know, kind of expand it here, make it a little bigger. If I want, I can, sorry for the noise too, my desk is kind of noisy. I can hide that little rectangle and then I can drop the opacity on this. So there's actually, it should come through as white in the background. But it's another thing I could do is just create another layer here and go and get my paint bucket tool and just paint white in the background. There you go. And now you can reduce the opacity and the white will shine through from the back. See, if you go all the way down, it converts to straight white. So, you know, you can do something like that. Sorry. All right. And then we also have some little template thingies here. There's Polaroid templates that we use sometimes to hey, where'd it go? Open with Adobe Photoshop. Hello. Oh, maybe because I'm busy doing something and I haven't saved it. Right? Oh, I thought that would work though. Ah, there we go. Nope. I think something got messed up in this one. Nope, that one's incorrect. All right, so here's an example of one of the Polaroids that we've done in the past, and this one was with the individual by the name of McAllister. Let me go ahead and toss the picture that we just did from Mr. Ackerman from basic training. Toss that in here. Actually, pull it up here, and then we just readjust the size. And you can get these little templates as well. Your department head should have them. So you can just resize them and just toss them in as you see fit. Now I want to get as much of his head in there as I possibly can. But as you can see, part of the picture came out the bottom, and that's no good. So one thing I'm going to have to do here is, first off, let me get rid of McAllister. Nothing against McAllister, but I don't need his picture in there anymore. Let's see. I'm just gonna call this Polaroid. Polaroid. All right, and then I want to mask this section out. I could clip it out, like yeah, cut it out, but I don't want to. I'm gonna add a mask. Notice it says add layer mask, so I'm gonna click add layer mask. And then I need to get my brush tool. Where did that go? It's right here, or as I told you earlier, letter B. Letter B will open up your brush tool. And then this needs to be set to dark because I'm trying to hide things. So switch it, but you click this up, down, left, right arrow. It just basically switches between white and black, or foreground and background colors, whichever you have it set to, because you can actually change these to different colors, but I don't want to right now because I'm trying to paint this out. So I want my opacity to be higher so that I can completely get rid of it, and then I just paint right on over that, and looky goes away real nice. If I wanted to get it back, I switch this around again. So white is in the foreground. Make sure I got my layer mask selected, and I could paint it right back in if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Another way to switch these around is to press the X button. X, 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 X. I want it to go away, so I need it black in the foreground, paint it out. And this only works because I'm using a mask. A mask, the key with masks is, let's see, light reveals, dark conceals, I believe is the saying. So I'm using dark color, specifically black, to hide things. If I wanted to hide his face, I could do that. See? But I don't want to. White or white reveals, dark conceals. So I want his face to be there, so I want to put that all back. That's good. I think we're back in action. You can increase the size of the brush if you need to, but I think we're good to go here. Now, one thing I will do here is, let's see, this is a group. I'm gonna duplicate this group over into the VOD fb2.psd, and it's gonna be called Polaroid. Now, notice Polaroids is way at the top. Also, one thing I need to do here before I make a save that I don't want. Oh, darn it. I totally just whoopsies. I meant to click save as. Oh well, I'll just have to go fix that afterwards. But so I want to go in the no. Try to find the Ackerman folder. There's Beckwith, Art Exhibit, Alan Lynch. Here we go. And call this Ackerman underscore VOD underscore FB, because it's for Facebook. Alrighty. Cool. Now, so here's something that I can do. I got this all, oopsie, Control Z. I want this whole group, not just that one part. You have to like push Command or Control and then drag it if you want to move it around. So yeah, maybe I will leave it right there for now. And then I have this other photo over here of, let's see, not that one, but let's see, Will's in uniform. Open with preview. Just double check and see exactly what it looks like. Okay, cool. There's that. So see where I want to put it. Will in uniform. Alright. So let me grab these two and move them all the way down to where the stage is. We have this stage so that you know like where to put stuff. I want it in front of the background layer, and then I just want to select this one and kind of shrink it down a little bit so that it fits in here. Cool. And if I wanted to, I could move this background image off to the side, since I can just kind of grab this thing now if I want to keep the airplane in there. So there's that. Yeah, it does feel off a little bit. I'll keep that centered. Alright. Whatever. So I'm not gonna make this perfect right now. I don't know what this is. It's got a lot of ribbons and metals. One thing we can do at this point is I can select this and go to my text tool, and his name I believe was Will Ackerman, so let me double check that. Will Ackerman. Will, oop, I think we always do caps. Will Ackerman. So there's that, and he is also a member of the Air Force, if I'm not mistaken. So this is our military SEALs section. You want to notice Army is selected. We don't want Army, we want Air Force. And there we go. Will Ackerman, Air Force. So there's that. We could put some more pictures in if we want. Let's see. Is there anything else in here that's worth here? This one, kind of cutting his hair off. And I did all that work on his hair, so I'm gonna get that hair in there. You could actually shrink it down a little bit still to make it fit in there a little better. Alright, go. Cool. So that's squared away. There's, kind of running out of room here for inclusion of stuff. I know he sent in, or somebody sent in on his behalf, some other photos I mean, I could toss them in there, but you know, like I said, I'm kind of running out of space. Eh, I'll leave it as is for now. I'm actually going to upload the entire Photoshop document to, if I can, to Trello. But for now, let's see. Let me just export this file, export this whole thing, save for web. And here's something that you'll need to take into consideration. Notice JPEG 625.1K. If it's higher, um, if the file size is higher than 2 megabytes, so notice this is 1.916 megabytes. If it's higher than 2 megabytes, we won't be able to upload it to the website. It'll be all messed up. So try, if you're noticing right here that it's going to be higher than 2 megabytes, try taking this quality down a bit. You can do it there, or you can just grab this and drag it over to the left a little bit. Notice JPEG 1.138. But I'm going to go back to maximum here. Seems like it'll work. So let me save it. It's in Ackerman. Yep, save it. All right, let's open up that folder. And Ackerman VOD fb.jpg. I'm going to open it up in a preview. And there we go. There's Mr. Ackerman's VOD graphic. You know, somebody could update it, you know, spend a little more time on it, but I'm trying to make a video here, and you know, I don't want to spend all day on it. So here we go. Now I need to get the Instagram version of this. So let me double click this, and let's go ahead and save as before I make any changes, since I already screwed this up once. Ackerman, and call it Ackerman VOD IG .psd. All right, cool. So, to be honest, like, you know, a number of these things should be able to be copied on over. So you can scroll down here if you want to take this graphic right here and duplicate it over to the VOD IG. IG stands for Instagram. So you can do that. Pop it over here. That's, I guess, the opacity carried over. So, and you're going to want this down where it says better in images, above the rectangle. And then, like I did before, if you want to do the little fade, you might need to have another layer on here underneath that picture, and then just grab your little paint bucket, paint it white. Cool. That's good. I'll be honest, I think this is probably going to be hidden, but hey, you never know. There's that. I'm going to take this whole folder right here and duplicate it across to Ackerman VOD IG, Polaroid. Go over here, figure out where it's at. It's at the very, very top. I don't want it there, so I'm going to put it right here. Already I see that this is going to not work out the same as it did before. So, yeah, there's that. And see if I can grab this photo. Another way to do it, I believe, is if you grab it and move here and then drop it. Yeah, so that works. And then move this down to the stage area, and I readjust it. Maybe I could just shrink this down a bit and move it up. All right. Polaroid, Command, move it, boom. Might be able to shrink this down a bit too. And I can shift this over a little bit, and yeah. Kind of want that in there. Alright, cool. And one last thing I can do here is I want to show a little bit more of this plane. So I'm going to take my rectangle selection tool and see if I can just get rid of. It's not directly editable. It's a smart object. Let's see if I can do it from here. Image, trim transparent pixels, save. Lame. Alright, well, I don't know what that means. Nope. Yep. Didn't work. Oh well. I'm trying to show more of the background image there a little bit. Then maybe I can take this. A lot of the process is going to be, moving things around and seeing where it works, so you're not cutting off too much of this or too much of that. I'm going to put it down here, maybe. Then adjust this. Not totally sold on that, to be honest. Another thing we might do is bring in one of those other pictures that we didn't use. Let me try that. Ackerman, and go back to this view. This is a good photo. Let's toss that on and see how we do with that. Bring that down here. I wanted to show it behind that, and maybe a bit too big. That might do it. Maybe I'll drop this down a bit. Okay, so I'm not cutting off his head there. Cool. Wonder, what if I grab this Polaroid and moved it to the top? Is it too busy? Might be too busy. Alright, so I think it is kind of busy, honestly. Yeah, well, I'm just going to turn it off for now. They don't need to be the exact same. Obviously, they can't be because one is one particular resolution, the other one's different. One thing that sometimes I will do if I'm going to be posting two graphics like back to back like this is I'll add another layer, or not back to, I mean side to side. I'll add another layer and then I'll get my rectangle tool. Make sure that it has a fill but no stroke. Stroke is like a line around the outside, and then I'll just throw a little rectangle in here, really skinny one, just to kind of act as a divider between the two graphics. So there's other ways to get around this too. Like if you have two photos that are going to go together, but you have another one, you can like cut out the person and you can set them in between the two and just have them connect behind that person. That can be a useful way to do it as well. This one's really simple though. The other one requires a lot of work with the pen tool, which is something I didn't do in this graphic, but we could go over at some point in the future. Another thing here, we need Will Ackerman. Nope. caps, Will Ackerman. All right, cool. And then finally, service branch. He is not a Marine. He was Air Force. Correct. And now this is looking pretty good. File, export, save for web. Go in here, double check that we're below 2. Actually, it doesn't matter on this one. It can be whatever size. Doesn't matter. This one goes straight to Instagram, so it's not going to go on the blog. So 1.451 though, so that's good. Save it. Ackerman VOD IG. Save. And now I have both of them, and so I will go over here to Trello, to his card. Open it up. Let me go ahead and, by the way, when you're going to claim a card and actually start working on the graphics, make sure you make a note in here. Graphic designer. Name yourself as the graphic designer, and then you can add the label graphic designer assigned. Where is it? Did they get rid of that? Oh no, here we go. Graphic designer assigned. And then you can grab these. There's the PSD, don't need that. Ackerman VOD IG and Ackerman VOD FB. Drag them, drop them onto Trello. And it says files. Oh, that's the Photoshop document. Don't need that. Need the JPEG. There we go. I was wondering why it wasn't working. And now they should upload. And those are done. So now you can see it. It's right here. Boom and boom. Will Ackerman. Will Ackerman. Yep. It's looking decent, you know. If I wanted to, I could go in and fix that eyeball thing he's got going on there, but I'm not going to because I have to finish this video at some point. Here we go. Complete graphic. Cool. So make sure you mark off. These checklists are added here so that we make sure that we complete all of the steps. We have a graphic member assigned. I've completed the graphic. There's a writer assigned, as you see, Nicholas Rogers Dillon added himself as the writer. So see, writer, I add myself as graphic designer, then I put the graphics on here as an attachment, and then I'm marking off these things. So this is good to go. And yeah, so this is in progress, and hopefully it will move through. Actually, graphic designer assigned, there should be labels for graphics completed. Graphics updated, editing in progress, update graphic, graphics updated. Yeah, well, whatever. Cool. And that should be ready to go. If, let's say, Ray or somebody else on my team or Jason sees it and says, hey, you know, this graphic needs a little more, you know, work. Can you get back to it and you know, and do some more work? They can kick it back after the fact. So like as it moves through this process, Nicholas is working on it. He's going to move it over. Is probably going to skip waiting for graphics now because I just did some graphics. He's going to move over to ready for editor review, and then an editor will take it and review it, and then submit it over to here. Library of Congress VHP drafts for DME review or priority. So this one is a priority. Notice it's got the red tag. The red tag stands for, wait for it, priority. And so as you're working on one, if you see one with the red tag, try to work on that thing first. That should be your first one that you work on. Specifically the red tag that says priority. Looks like we have a few in here now that we didn't do. Oh gosh. What's this one? No, this one. There's another red tag that stands for update graphic. So that's not the same. If you see a red tag with the priority on it, then you'll want to get working on that one as soon as possible. So once a priority one is finished, it doesn't go in this column. it goes over here for priority drafts for DME review. And if we approve it, if it gets through Ray or Jason, they look at it and they say it's good to go, then they will move it on to DME approved. And from there, we will schedule it on the Vantage Point blog and across our social media channels. And that should be it. That is basically how to create a Veteran of the Day graphic. There are more detailed things that you can do. I think I already have a video to show you how to use the pen tool to cut people out of a photo. But this should give you a basic idea of how to create a photo of the day. A lot of times, a Veteran of the Day. A lot of times, as you can see, they're just collages and stuff. A quick collage, side by side images with a little rectangle around it. They're not that hard to do. So hopefully this can get you started. If you have questions, I'm always in Slack. Let me know. Thanks. Bye.